Everyone's heard about Microsoft, but have you ever thought about where everything happens? Where is its headquarters? What does it look like? Is it just a giant factory with a lot of nerds and machines? Where should we start? There is so much to talk about. For example, the giant mall inside Microsoft City, the Bill Lake, the High Five corridors, the Maker's Garage, or the awesome Building 87 where all sorts of top-secret projects are under the procedure. The Microsoft Campus. Let's take it from the top and talk about the location first. Back when Bill Gates and Paul Allen wanted a place where they could start their company, they chose a chicken farm in the suburbs of Seattle, Redmond, Washington. In February 1986, that chicken farm was turned into 6 buildings that were like the home of Microsoft. And to be very precise, the home of Microsoft consisted of 6 buildings. These days, the Microsoft campus spreads across 500 acres and has the capacity of thousands of employees. But you'll be making a huge mistake if you think that stuff was like this decades ago. Back when there were only 6 buildings, the employee capacity was only 800. But these days, about 50,000 people work there, and we are not including the visitors. Can you imagine the massive growth? At first, there were only 6 buildings. But these days, there are 120 buildings on the Microsoft campus. This is why it is almost considered a tiny city. And just like universities, it is called a campus, because it has dozens of buildings in it. Now, being the nerds they are, initially when there were only 6 buildings, they named the buildings numerically instead of giving them a cool name. Now, the different spots in the Microsoft campus have interesting and quite amusing names. For example, the High Five Hallway, the Maker's Garage, the Bill Lake, and the Commons are a few examples of how over the years their ability to name buildings has gotten a lot better. Building 92. Enough about names, let's talk about what goes on inside there. First of all, if you are a tourist, it is most likely that your tour will begin from Building 92. Is there a specific reason? Yes, there kind of is. Building 92 is considered as the Microsoft Visitor Center, and it is basically designed in a way that whoever comes to visit the small universe, whose god is Bill Gates, can take a look at the best that Microsoft has to offer. Since there are 120 buildings and the campus is spread across 500 acres, walking on foot and expecting to be as productive as you want to is kind of silly. Therefore, to make stuff easier, there are several mini hybrid buses. Extremely comfortable, furnished, and laced with high-tech technology, these buses make sure that you get the best view of the Microsoft campus while being perfectly comfortable. In fact, there is a special poster on the bus that has a few QR codes where you can digitally rate the performance and your experience of the hybrid minibuses. The Company Museum. Once you're in Building 92, the Microsoft Visitor Center, make sure you visit the Company Museum. There, you can find important launches that were the reason behind the immense success of Microsoft and relevant description in history. Now, if you get bored by looking at nerdy stuff, you can always play some awesome games like Forza Racing and Minecraft, etc. And don't worry, if you're not the kind of person who plays games like Minecraft or messes around and happens to be quite serious about their professional life and how to make it more successful, you can always use LinkedIn and try out a few gadgets created by Microsoft to promote your skills and be a step ahead of everyone else. After you're done looking at the Company Museum and exploring stuff, you can always buy a souvenir from the Microsoft Apparel store. Stuffed toys, keychains, t-shirts, shoes, glasses, whatever you want, name it, they have it. Microsoft Walk of Fame. And as we said earlier, the gods of Microsoft have tried to make the Microsoft campus extremely interesting and have used their innovation too related to pop culture as well. So just like the Hollywood Walk of Fame, there are panels outside Building 16. And no, there is nothing nerdy about them. Well, except for a little. Each panel in the Microsoft Walk of Fame depicts a certain launch that was considered a very important milestone in the journey of the success of Microsoft. Speaking of success, did you know that Microsoft ranks number 21 in the 2020 Fortune 500 rankings of the largest United States corporations according to revenue? Building 8. Enough talk about work, let's talk about something else. Did you know that Building 8 is the place where the owner of Microsoft, the shy nerd Bill Gates, met his future wife Melinda for the first time? Is this a Wattpad love story or what? According to articles and the couple themselves, both Bill and Melinda were working overtime while everyone else was back at home. Apparently, the shy nerd used to silently observe his pretty colleague working overtime and had gotten used to her timetable. One day, when the coast was clear, Mr. Gates shot his shot and asked her out. The rest is history, quite literally. Anyways, the couple is now divorced, so let's go back to the tour of the insanely large headquarters of Microsoft. Also, if you're a visitor and someone asks you to come to Building 7, politely tell them you cannot. Why? Because Building 7 doesn't really exist. Building 7 is a myth, like the Bigfoot in the Microsoft campus. There are several theories about why there isn't a Building 7. Some people say that they could not construct a Building 7 because of a government permit. Others say that they forgot to number the Building 7, while the other people call the innocent newbies to Building 7 and prank them. Building 87. Now let's move on to something a little more interesting. Building 87. This might seem a little concerning, yet awesome at the same time. How? Because Building 87 is the place where all the top secret research happens. We're not sure if visitors are allowed down there because there are several eyebrow-raising projects, like the Orwellian-sounding Department of Human Data and the hypnotic, noise-suppressing anechoic chamber. Who knows what goes on in there? It's like Willy Wonka's chocolate factory, but make it nerdy and all about technology and software. But the good news is that visitors in the Microsoft campus won't be eliminated one by one, as it happened in the movie. The Maker's Garage. Now let's move on to the next part of the Microsoft campus that is a beautiful reminder of how important and crucial creativity and experimentation is, no matter what field you are in. We're talking about the Maker's Garage, where all the engineers mess around with their ideas.
Am I proud of the garage? I'm more than proud. I'm happy that there is a garage here. The garage is your toolbox for shaping your ideas into products.
If you're done with work and you feel like the idea that has been nagging you for quite some time has a decent potential, then the Microsoft management has provided the employees with a Maker's Garage where all the necessary gadgets and facilities like the laser cutters, 3D printers, soldering gears, etc. are available. Also, quite opposite to what most people think about engineers, that all they do is wear thick glasses and sit in front of a computer all day and geek around, Microsoft has done quite a decent arrangement for the physical health of its workers as well. There are 2 soccer pitches, several basketball courts, softball nets, beach volleyball, and a lot of running trails. And do you remember in the start when we mentioned that the Microsoft headquarters is called a campus? So just like traditional university campuses, there are ping pong tables and pool tables present as well. Now, whenever the employees there are exhausted and overworked, they can always put on their joggers and go for a run. And if they feel a little sporty, they can always play soccer with their friends. Now let's move on to one of the most interesting and awesome parts of the Microsoft campus. Did you know that there is a gigantic mall there? That's right, ladies and gentlemen, the Commons Mall is a 2-story building with 1.4 million square feet and tons of stuff that you normally might not find in a workplace. The Commons Mall. Now, who would have thought that a technology company would have an entire mall inside? Everyone thinks that when you're working for a technology company, all you have to do is sit in front of a screen, be in meetings, or in the lab. That is pretty much all. But the gods of Microsoft have proven this concept wrong by including an entire mall in the plan of their headquarters. And what does the mall have? Everything. If you're tired, you can always grab a refreshing and recharging cup of coffee. And if you feel like munching on something, there is pretty much everything you could feel like eating inside the mall. In fact, if you feel like eating local food, then thanks to the new initiative of the Microsoft management, local businesses are being supported and endorsed inside the Commons Mall. If you want to get your bike fixed, if you want to get your phone fixed, if you want to get a haircut, if you want to buy a new dress, or if you think that you need a new dinner set, everything is available in the Commons Mall. Well, we might have exaggerated a little. Everything isn't available. You might be able to get any technology there, but don't expect to find the latest iPhone or a MacBook there. They don't have the best relations, you know. The Treehouse offices. Now let's talk about something childish, but extremely professional and amusing. That's right, we're talking about the Treehouse offices and meeting rooms.
Inside, Microsoft employees sit and chat at a long wooden table.
Quite recently, to encourage a healthy work environment, they have constructed office rooms on top of tree houses. This way, whenever you're exhausted by a board meeting and are tired of explaining your project to your executives, you can always step out and breathe some fresh air. Not only that, you can enjoy and relax a little by listening to the chirping of the birds, and overall, the fresh environment will improve your mood for sure. The Lake Bill. Since we're talking about the fun parts of the Microsoft campus, let's talk about Lake Bill. As you have guessed, this lake is for celebrating. And can you guess why? Every time a new Microsoft product exceeds the expectations of the executives or does exceptionally well in the market, everyone celebrates by witnessing one of the richest people on the planet jump in the lake and get drenched. That is quite a wholesome and interesting way to celebrate your accomplishments. The High Five Hallway. In this hallway, all you have to do is smile at other people and give them a high five. Therefore, we won't advise you to go through the hallway if you're having a bad day. Because who wants to give a high five when they had a burnt toast in the morning? Or why would you want to smile at random people when you woke up to your dog pooping in your bed? Exactly. Make sure to hit the like and subscribe button, and don't forget to turn on post notifications. I'll see you in the next video.